Hello, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, TikTok. Today we're talking about femininity. I thought we will touch on that. I mean, since we're here, ladies mostly, and we're all about becoming more feminine, let's talk about femininity. And the topic today is what I wouldn't do as a feminine woman. Now, I often ask, well, what should they do? What would a feminine woman do? What would a masculine woman do? So I thought maybe I will do a video of what I wouldn't do as a feminine woman. What you wouldn't do if you would be feminine, or you probably already not doing because you're feminine. And I will give you my reasoning. And maybe next week I will do what I would do as a feminine woman. Now, I believe that there are this kind of like a lot of people don't exactly know how they should act. They try to become more feminine or more masculine, but they're not sure what would be the right actions. So the actions are right when they're natural, when something that you do like is natural, whatever it comes naturally to you. For example, like as one of the examples I will give you, I do not compete, but I never was competing. Long before I knew that I'm feminine, that I was feminine, I never like I am not I don't have competitive nature, and I couldn't understand why, because I'm rather ambitious, I could say, but I never really competed with anybody for anything. And you see, it came naturally to me because I was born feminine. My energy dominantly is water, so this is a very feminine energy. So if you are in doubt, you should do what is natural to you at your present state. So if you're feminine, then it should be natural for you. Now, if it's when I will go through this, maybe you can add the yours. Maybe you can add the what you think you shouldn't do. So the first one is now again. Um, you will, if you were always acting masculine and then suddenly you will become feminine, you will not change your behavior right away, but it's up to you how, like, you will slowly going to change your, the behavior little by little. Okay, so the first one is I wouldn't argue. Why? Because I simply will not win. Arguing is very masculine trait, and this is normal. For like a good argument can actually shed some light on it, but for me as a feminine woman, I could not argue. Sometimes I try, if I will, there's like some heated discussion, I try to, but I know that will not do. Now, why wouldn't I even argue? Why wouldn't I even accomplish? Because look, I'm feminine, right? So people try to get energy from me, which is normal because I'm feminine. Anybody who is feminine, the masculinity always will try to take energy from you. You can take energy in a nice way. So somebody is doing something good for me, and I'm just giving them energy because I'm feeling so grateful. Or they can grab the energy in a not so nice way. For example, they try to fight with me, or they try to not only with me, with anybody. And you probably know those people. They go looking for scandal because they want to grab the energy in a not maybe such holistic way. So if I will start arguing, I will be giving them energy. The easiest way for me not to give them any kind of energy is to just withdraw and focus on myself, And this kind of pendulum that they're trying to push around will die out very fast because I'm not going to engage. So they're not going to get any energy from me, and they will move on to somebody else. And it happens sometimes. Sometimes I see like. Sometimes I'm like people in some Facebook discussions, they try to get and start to argue. I mean, I never get involved because first of all, I wouldn't win. I would waste a lot of energy. What's the point? Like I don't see a point in even arguing. So this is something that me as a feminine woman, I would not do. And I encourage you not doing it. Notice how often did you even felt good after the argument? Even if you won in an argument, would you really feel good? You will feel accomplished for a second. Your masculinity will feel great, but after that, you will still feel a little down. So arguments are probably a no-no for a feminine woman or feminine anybody, simply because it's not natural. It's a very masculine kind of action. Masculinity thrive in it. They like arguments. They kind of exchange this kind of fiery energy between each other, and then they move on. Feminine people, feminine women especially, they would think about this, analyze it. They will see what could have I done differently, what should I said differently. Instead, withdraw from argument, and then the masculine energy will pursue you because they still want to have the energy from you. Like when I'm dating, I mean, I never argue. At least I try not to argue with men, like not in that sense. If they would start picking on something, I would basically just take a step back, and I withdraw, and that would prompt them to try to kind of to reach out to me, try to get me to talk. You see, remember, energy, masculine energy, energy of fire, energy of air are very unstable. They are not. They are very. They are not grounded. So when you withdraw, it's like they losing control. So suddenly they don't know how to argue because the other opponent is not even arguing. Anyways, but this is the first one. I wouldn't argue, would not advise you to argue. If you are a feminine woman, arguments are not real for you, not for me, not for anybody, simply because they are not it's not a feminine trait. Okay. And it doesn't matter how people, it's not about what people will think about you, really doesn't. It's about how you would feel after. And feminine man and woman, they just would not feel good after. All right, so let's move on. The next one is I wouldn't help. So I wouldn't help anybody. Now you would say, Anastasia, you just such a selfish. Um, Thank you. You're such a selfish person. No, I'm not a selfish person. I'll tell you why I wouldn't be helping anybody. First of all, because it's not really my energy. Masculinity helps. Why? Because they grow in caring for others. They want to. They want to care. They want to feel good. They want to feel like they're doing something for somebody. They feel very accomplished. They feel very strong. Now, feminine man and women especially, that's not what they're doing. So if I will be helping somebody, I would be looking for their weaknesses. So I would acknowledge their weakness. Now, me as a feminine woman, acknowledging a weakness in somebody would be strange. So I can help, like maybe little children. Maybe I can help somebody who, like, not really sure, like a homeless pet, so like cats, or so something like that. But a grown-up man or a grown-up woman, I wouldn't be helping. Now you'll tell me, what I say, you never helped? Yes, I did help, but this is something that I'm trying to trying to really control myself in, because first of all, remember, people will, if you help somebody, people will always remember you when they need help next time. So don't let them get accustomed to it. Now, secondly, when you help somebody, you're doing it for your own selfish reason. You probably feel like feeling so accomplished, like you feel great. Now you tell in your mind, I feel great when I help somebody. So the mind will be giving you more opportunities to help others, will be pushing on you people that needs help. And this is not what you need. You as a feminine woman need to have people who will want to help you, who will want to make your life better, because you're feminine. You are supposed to inspire people, fill them with energy, and they should do the action. So I wouldn't help others. And once I decided, it was a few years ago, that I'm not helping nobody just because, um, like, I don't really have anybody who asks me for help. Like, I do have my clients, but remember, there is an energy exchange. I am giving them knowledge, I'm guiding them, and they are paying me. So this is a little different. The same with energy alignment. I fix their energy. They again, they exchange an energy with me. They are paying me. So, and in both times, they are asking me for help. So I'm not just imposing my help on somebody without anybody asking me for it. So, but like, just like outside, I'm not going to help nobody. I mean, I don't even have these occasions, like none. It doesn't even happen. I noticed even that I used to always like open the door for somebody just in case somebody is walking behind me. Even this doesn't happen any longer. So again, as a feminine woman, you're not supposed to be helping others. Leave it to the masculinity, because masculinity grows in that. Like, if, especially if it's when it comes to your man, you should not be helping your man. Otherwise, you will become his mom, and you could not become a mom to a grown-up person. So, if your man, for example, is right there and asking you for help, change the subject. Change the subject. If he doesn't seize them, and start flirting. If he doesn't, then act offended. Act almost like, I can't believe, you're asking me this. I mean, you're a strong man. I'm sure you will figure it out on your own, like this. So no helping to, like, I wouldn't even go into this. A helping man is never, should never be. Even if he's your husband, he can. There is so many other resources that he can get help from. He can ask his parents. He can ask his friends. He can, if it's money, he can take a loan in the bank. I mean, he can do, like, a masculine man will never really come and ask his woman for help, only if he doesn't really take her for a woman that much. So if you guys are friends, for example, or you're roommates, or you're not that feminine, then maybe he will approach you and ask you for help. So no helping nobody around you, and especially no helping with you men, and especially your man. If he's your man, he will never ask you. But if he asks, just switch the subject. This I would never do. And I used to, not necessarily with money, but I used to advise, help, find solutions for them, research. It was bad, honestly. And they got used so much to for me. They got used that I am helping them all the time, that they would like dump their problems on me nonstop and constantly. And when I would refuse to help, they would get offended because they're so used to for me to help. So, anyways, see strengths in your man, see strengths in people outside. Don't help. This is not a feminine trait. It's very masculine trait. And I will tell you, as a born feminine woman, kind of naturally feminine woman, it was always hard for me to help others. I mean, I helped because I felt like I have to, or I'm a firstborn in the family, so I have a younger brother and sisters. So I grew up kind of caring for others and helping others, but it never was a pleasure. So it was more like with some a little bit even like a burden. I never felt super accomplished when I help somebody and I feel great. It was never my case. So no helping. As a feminine woman, I wouldn't do that. Now the next one is I wouldn't chase anything or anybody. I would draw it to me or draw them to me. Now in nature, you probably know I'm pretty sporty. I would say, I go for a run. I'm I'm good with that. But if I will compete, if I will run the same distance with the man who is as prepared as I am, I will never win. Why? Because a man is naturally physically stronger than a woman. Now, if he would be out of shape, obviously, I'm not talking about that. So even in nature, I could not outchase something. Like this, it's not natural. That's why man chase, masculinity chases, and femininity is kind of it doesn't chase, draws it in. So what I can do now, since chasing is not really for me, I draw everything in. I draw man in. I draw things that I want. I draw money in. And I'm not doing that just sitting and meditating and just. Trust in the universe. I will tell you what exactly I do, but and you will think that ambitious person like me would do some kind of actions. I do actions. I'm not doing actions out of desperation. So, for example, if I'm liking a man, and he, let's say, not doing actions as I would want him, I couldn't really even imagine such situation. But let's imagine that's the situation. Let's imagine he's super busy and he's just keeping me on the warm burner, just keeping my interest. So what would I do? I would make myself so like my life so enjoyable, so pleasurable that he would feel it and he will want to be part of that life. Or, for example, if I'm drawing in money, some kind of resources, right? Again, what would I do? Money is masculine energy, comes again on some kind of on a good feeling. So, what would I do? I would feel great about my life. I would feel excited about what I do in my life, and money will come. Now, again, I'm not just sitting and waiting for something. I'm doing something, but that something is not really towards what I want. This is something to improve my life. I want to make my aura so juicy, so amazing that all of that will want to come. First of all, when I'm making my life so juicy and tasty, I will raise myself up energetically, and that somebody or something will be on the same level and logically will have to become to be part of my life. I do it with everything. I did it even before I knew anything about energy, about about manifesting, about anything. So I don't chase anybody. Like I do actions. Like, for example, if I like somebody and the guy haven't texted me in let's say 2 months, but we're good friends, I would text him, hey, like, how are you? Haven't heard from you in a while. I don't believe this is chasing. This is just my natural actions that I do. Now, if the guy will not, the guy or the girl or whoever will not reciprocate, then I'm like, okay, something is off with my energy. Let me adjust my energy so that person will want to be around me again. And I would do that. I wouldn't be thinking, oh, he's not liking me. What can I do? Let me send him more text messages. Let me send him a present. No, I would never do that. I would if the person is not does not want to be in my energy, but I still want to be, so that means only that I dropped a little bit and he's still high because I want him in my energy. Now, so what would I do? I would need to raise myself up. To raise myself up, I need to work with my energy. I need to adjust my life so it would become amazing, and he will kind of reappear, he or that something reappear in my life. I need to close the gap, you see. So but I would not chase. It's not me, never been me. It was never natural for me. Now I understand why it's never was natural for me, simply because I would not be able to do that. Like, I, as I just told you, in nature, masculinity is stronger than femininity physically. So I would not be able to chase and drag somebody into my life. I would need to do it energetically, because femininity is stronger energetically inside. Now, so I would change it. I would change my thinking. I would change my energy, and that somebody will resurface back in my life. Oh, that's something. And I do it, as I said, with everything. I did it in my career. I did it with. I do it with money often. Like, if my income declines a little bit, I'm like, okay, adjusting the energy very, very fast. Because this is something, it's tangible. I can see it. The same with men. I never really had this issue, but even if I would have something like this, I would do the same thing with men. And this is what I do. So if you're feminine, but yet you tend to chase somebody, remember, this is not feminine trait. This is very masculine. And if you want to get something masculine, well, I mean, by all means, but this is not what a feminine woman would do. It's in a masculine way. Look, if I want to go and get myself something to eat, and I don't really want to sit and wait for the delivery, or sit and wait, or like do the cooking myself, then I would just take Uber or drive or something to that place, get myself food, and come back. I would do it in a masculine way. But this is something that I can, that's easy, you see. Now, morning, if but something big like that, something that I could not really control, something really truly masculine, I would not be able to achieve like that. I would not be able. So I do not chase as a feminine woman, and I do not recommend you chasing. And trust me, I have masculine ladies as my clients, and it's hard for them. I know it's hard. They were born naturally masculine. They were born ready to act, and suddenly they couldn't act. All right, so let's move on. The next one is, I wouldn't compete. And I never was very competitive. I am ambitious but not competitive. I simply don't have a desire to compete. Why? Because I don't really have that much of ego. Again, because I'm not masculine. A feminine woman knows her self-worth, and she doesn't really need to validation from anybody. She doesn't need to prove anything to anybody. So me, as a feminine woman, I never was competitive, never. So I have a goal, I achieve that goal, or like, my goals might be different from somebody else's goal, but these are mine. Why would I compete with somebody? So competition never drove me to success like this. But I know people who are driven by competition to achieve something, and I admire them for that. But again, when somebody is trying to get me to do something, I simply just, like, you're barking at the wrong tree. This is not me, and I would not compete. Again, as a feminine woman, I believe in cooperation and not competition. So if somebody is doing good, let's work together, or maybe I can learn something from you. But I'm not going to compete. Like I never compare my videos to somebody else's videos. How much, like, are my views bad or not? I have a couple of friends here in Miami. They also have YouTube channels, but I never really compare it. Like, never, not once. I mean, maybe that's why we're good friends, because I never competed with them for something better. So, and I think it's a good trait. If you're feminine, you should not be competing with nobody. You should maybe not even compare yourself. You should maybe get inspired by others, maybe work with others, but that's pretty much it. If you are competitive, then you're masculine. All right. I don't say this is bad. It just, as for a feminine woman, maybe it's not. Another thing that I wouldn't do as a feminine woman is, I wouldn't sympathize. Why? The same thing as with helping. Sympathizing is basically admitting that somebody is weaker than you. And as a feminine woman, I could not do that. Why? Because physically, nobody is really weaker than me, so to say. I'm not weak. I wouldn't say that I'm weak, but um, everybody has the same kind of the same energy, the same mind, so everybody can be strong. So what I do as a feminine woman, and anybody who's feminine should do this, I inspire people. I don't see weakness in them, I try to see strengths in them, and I show them their strengths so they can feel better about themselves. So this would be much better. Empathizing is a really is a little perverted game of an ego. You know, when you sympathize with somebody, you feel like, oh, so that person is not doing so good, I'm doing better. You know, it's like you're like, thanks to the other person's misfortune, you feeling like everything is not that bad in my life, and this is wrong, obviously. So, anyways, I would not sympathize with nobody. I would find something good to focus on. Now, if it's something misfortune, like a misfortune happened, obviously I would say, listen, you know, yeah, it's not really, you know, I would never, I don't even say I'm sorry, but I could say something like, yeah, not good. But let's see what can be done about that. Let's see, you know, like if somebody, like a client of mine had this flat tire, came to consultation all angry and this and that, and I'm like, well, let's analyze the situation. But she's my client, okay, I can do that. But if it would be my friend, I would be like, well, but it's okay, you know, a good chance to call your boyfriend and give him a chance to prove himself to you or something like that. So I don't sympathize, I don't focus on weaknesses, I don't focus on anything negative. I inspire people, and I think that's why people love to be in my space, because I do that. Instead of me chewing on their problems, on their misfortunes, I find something to inspire them on. The next one is, I don't brag. So I think this is a misfortune, but as a feminine woman, I don't see I don't need validation, so I don't really tell anything, and you probably will know nothing about my life unless I will tell you something. You wouldn't know where I go, who I meet, and the people that I know. I mean, because I don't need this need to brag. Now, why is it somewhat misfortunate? Is because I also don't share um, my successes. I don't share successes of my clients, even those that tell me, look, you can share. I still don't. I never share, hardly ever share any kind of like feedback that I received from people. I had a client, she just got married to like 3 days ago, and yeah, I never even mentioned that too. No, I mentioned on TikTok, I did in a video, but for the most part, I hardly ever say anything, mention my success, or it's not that easy for me to speak again, because I don't really need the validation, and I don't believe that I have to prove anybody anything to be loved or to be accepted. You see, now because my strength is inside, I keep all those achievements inside. Now, if I would be masculine, maybe I would be more open, and maybe I would be sharing more. I see the bloggers who are sharing everything, their successes, their not successes, I mean, here and there, and they like to brag, and people love to follow them because they show them their cars, their clothes, their jewelry, their bank accounts, everything, and the others are really like drooling over their accounts because they're showing so much. Now, again, it's just me, and I notice a lot of feminine men and women who do not really share anything about themselves, who may be shy, maybe don't feel like they need to. And this like this. If you feel like you need to get the validation, you need to talk about something, you need to like make sure that people like you, then you are probably masculine, and this is something you can work on. Again, it was since childhood. I never was one to brag much. You know, I almost um, I almost try to like to avoid even conversations. I don't downplay myself, but I try not to even get to this kind of, like, if somebody asks me how much do you make a month, I mean, really, this is none of your business. I mean, I wouldn't share this. I wouldn't, but somebody would tell and would be proud of their accomplishments. I'm proud of my accomplishments. It's just not it's just not a feminine thing to do. All right. Also, when you brag, people will take it for the competition, and masculinity will not appreciate this, especially if you're bragging to like a man, to your man. So again, it's not a feminine trait. Don't do that. Okay. So the next one is um, from here, I would not downplay myself, and I see it often with feminine women, with feminine men too. People. try to downplay themselves for no reason. So they're so shy and they're so absolutely not driven by ego that they sometimes even embarrassed to admit that they're amazing or that they did something amazing. So this is something that I work on. I never really downplayed myself, but I would, like a week ago, this acquaintance of mine wrote to me something like, "Oh, you live in Miami. It's like you won a jackpot." And I was like, like who doesn't give you an opportunity? Just so you understand, this person is extremely wealthy, has extremely wealthy husband, has 5 children, so a very like really good family. And she's comparing, like she believes that me living in Miami is so much better than everything that she has, and but I didn't, like, if it would be me before, I would say, listen, like you have as good as I do, or maybe even better. But this time I didn't. I mean, I didn't downplay. I'm like, yeah, it's amazing that I live, but I like it, so I choose to live here. So what I want to say is that don't downplay yourself. I notice it. I notice it in my feminine clients. I don't have too many feminine clients, but sometimes they do. They're like, oh yeah, but this was just luck, or yeah, I have good genes, so thanks God, because I don't know what I would do otherwise. Like this, like they're downplaying their accomplishments and achievements. And okay, one thing is you're not bragging, but another thing, at least give yourself some kind of credit, speak goodly about yourself. People love people who are confident, who are strong, who don't have this kind of false modesty for no reason. So do not like for example, somebody gives you a compliment, you're like, no, 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 it was just like, if somebody would tell me, oh, your dress is amazing, I mean, I'm like, yeah, it's amazing. I wouldn't lie, it's amazing dress, I love it. But somebody might say, oh no, I had it for I don't know, 20 years or something like that. So do not downplay yourself. As a feminine woman, you shouldn't. Femininity is very subtle, very inside, and if you will start putting yourself down, the masculinity will overrule you, overpower you for no reason. You don't need to be all over the place and in people's faces, but you need to be confident about what you are and what you present, and about yourself overall. So about your appearance, about your accomplishments, about everything. So when somebody says, "Oh, you're so successful," you'll be like, "Yeah, I am." You don't brag about this, but you're like, "Yes, I am." And thanks God to me that I am so successful. So make sure, don't do that again. I notice it in women who are feminine, maybe because they were taught in childhood. You have to kind of you have to be modest, you have to be shy. Okay, this is probably would be a good advice to masculinity, to femininity. This is a not good advice, like there was this meme, there was this video that was going around, don't be shy, people don't care about you, and you and you're even shy. So like make sure that that you are your own cheerleader, so to say. Don't throw your accomplishments in people's faces, but when people admit that you are amazing, I mean, like say, yes, I am amazing. You don't downplay yourself. Okay, so the next one is, I wouldn't do any aggressive actions. Now, don't take me wrong. I can be very determined. I'm very determined. I have Mars in Capricorn, and that makes me really very consistent, very determined. As you can see, I mean, I'm pretty consistent with my actions. I don't I don't give up very easily. But as a feminine woman, I'm again, masculinity is strong outside physically, femininity is strong inside energetically. So if I will be doing a lot of actions physically, I would get burned out. There's no point. So my best bet is to do some kind of action. So my best bet is to change energy. I do actions. Look, I'm doing live right now, so obviously I'm doing actions. It just I don't do excessive actions. All my actions are deliberately thought through. So I would not just do something in hopes that something will happen out of it. That happens very rarely. All my actions are somewhat prepared, somewhat analyzed. Like I would not again, because physically I'm not as physically as strong. I'm a woman, I'm a feminine woman, so I could not be doing something like that. Again, if I would be masculine, that could be different. Now, what kind of actions do? I do mostly actions that are natural to something particular. So for example, if I'm playing, well, playing the lotto, I don't know, but let's imagine I played the lotto. So what would I do? What would be natural when I'm playing the lotto? Go and buy a ticket. You can't play if you don't have a ticket. So this is natural. I would go and play the ticket. Now, what wouldn't I not do? I wouldn't be like buying millions of tickets just to make sure that they win. I would change the energy to match that they're winning. You see, like that. Or, for example, if I need to, let's imagine I need to find a job or find an apartment or a job or something, so to get something for myself. So I would do natural actions. Obviously, I could not find a job if I'm not even sending resumes or if I'm not letting anybody know. But I would also change the energy that I'm ready for a job or I'm ready for the new apartment. I know where I want it to have. I know where it should be located, or I know where I want to work. And then by changing the energy, I do natural actions, but I would not do too many of them. So it will somehow come. I would adjust the energy instead of my physical actions. Me running around and telling everybody, "Hey, do you know about any apartments? Do you?" It would be excessive actions that I don't need to do. All I need to do is just be sure that it will show up, adjust myself energetically, start packing my my belongings to move to the new apartment, and the apartment will show up. Obviously, I would work with the realtor. I would tell her what I'm looking for. I would tell her, that I need an apartment, but it wouldn't be and super excessive actions. And again, if you're a feminine woman, remember you're physically not as strong as a masculine woman, a masculine man would be. So do not overexhaust yourself for no reason. In the past, feminine women used to be perfect housewives, and their man would do all the actions for them. There was something in it. I mean, you shouldn't be dependent that much on others, but for the most part, you should not be also doing too much actions. Again, it's the energy that you're changing and not excessive actions. Otherwise, you will be getting everything in masculine way. Me, from my life, I understand that it's not. It doesn't work like this for me. It makes me anxious, frustrated. It just doesn't work for me. Now, for somebody who is still living in a masculine kind of energy, it might work. Okay, so the next one is I would never ignore masculinity in me and around me. Now, this is a little interesting, but um, me as a feminine woman, I could not live without masculinity. Why? And as you know, every woman should have 25% masculinity, 75% femininity, and every man should have 75% masculinity, 25% femininity. Men need femininity to feel, to connect to others, otherwise they won't be able to, and women needs to have masculinity to keep the borders, to keep their standards, and to be able to act at least minimum. Like me right now, I could adjust my energy all I want, but if I wouldn't come on live, you would never be able to kind of to benefit from my energy or benefit from my knowledge. So I need to have 25% of that masculinity to come and talk to you here, to even get myself online, to even force myself to somewhat act. Now, so I really appreciate the masculinity that I have inside of me. I don't have much, but I do work on it. I do cater to it, and I do make it strong every single day. And that I have another video. I can put it, or I can send it to you. Now, my masculinity also is responsible for men in my life. So if my masculinity is strong, confident, and accomplished, I will attract men like this. If my masculinity is weak, then I will attract men who are weak. So, for example, if I'm unconfident about what I'm doing, how much I'm making, I will be attracting men who are like this, unconfident, not sure how much they make, and not sure whether they even make it anything. Or if, for example, if I will gain a lot of weight and I will be out of shape and I will feel like sluggish and unhealthy, I will be attracting men who are like this, weak, sluggish, and unhealthy. So my masculinity has always needs to be always on point. Your masculinity also. I don't need to act masculine. I just need to make sure that the masculinity is there, and I'm showing you on the right side because that's where the masculine side is. So left side is feminine, right side is masculine. Now, if my masculinity is strong, the man that I will attract will know that they could not overcross my boundaries because they will feel it. They will feel a strong man inside of me, so they will be very respectful, very careful, and very polite when they are socializing with me. If my masculinity would be non-existent or very weak, then they would start acting maybe not very respectful, like very entitled to particular things with me or something like that. So again, I would never ignore masculinity. Yes, I promote you to work on your femininity very much, but masculinity is important, and it needs to stay clean, it needs to stay strong, and it needs to stay powerful. Again, and the easiest way to keep all that, I mean, just do some kind of sport, some kind of active sport, and make sure that that you acknowledge your accomplishments. This is very important. You know, masculinity strives on ego, so your own masculinity also has some kind of ego. Make sure to make it feel good. Now, I said that I would not ignore masculinity inside of me and outside of me, and this is exactly true. So I also do not ignore, do not disrespect masculinity outside of me. What is masculinity outside of me? Success, money, and man. So if I'm successful in something, I will acknowledge that. I will be like, that's amazing. Or money, obviously, I'm very respectful of money. I have a lot of videos on that. So I make sure that I don't just spend money around, just give money to others. I mean, I don't mind to spend, but as long as this is some kind of mindful spending, I do make sure that I do put something on the side, that my money does not just sit, but they are invested. I also make sure that men who come into my life somewhat respected, even if they are not really my man. But I would not disrespect them. I would not just out of nowhere just be rude to men or to anybody. Well, actually, to anybody. But I this is important to understand. You see, if I would be aggressive towards men in my life, it's like my masculinity is weak. You know, if you notice, men don't really argue with each other too much. Why? Because they're both strong, and they know that this argument can come to something like really like to fights or to something that they would not be able to control. So if you know that you have strengths inside, you're not going to be aggressive or rude to others, especially to men. So when men in my life, I don't really, I don't, I don't really fight them. Any man. So if, like, for example, if I would go to the gym and there are some men, I would not, I would be friendly. I wouldn't be excessively friendly, but I would smile. You know, I would say hi. I would like this. I would not be rude to them. I would not be aggressive because there's no point. You know, I need to acknowledge and show masculinity that it's respected in my space, especially if I wanted to continue being in my space. You see. Now, if I would be somewhat aggressive or towards masculinity, or even like for example with money, I would just aggressively try to grab it, try to earn it somehow. Then I would not be attracting masculinity. I would be attracting femininity because I'm acting feminine. I'm acting masculine. So again, I'm very particular about masculinity inside of me and outside of me. I make sure that I'm on point with my masculinity, so I'm disciplined somewhat, you know, to at least to a certain degree. I know I'm also in control of my emotions. That's also make me somewhat that makes my masculinity strong. I'm in control of my actions and my life, which creates security, my masculinity as well. And when it comes to masculinity outside, I make sure to act just the same. So I feel secure with the masculine energy. I don't feel threatened by men. I don't feel threatened by money. I don't feel threatened by success somewhat. So I make sure that I don't ignore any of this masculinity inside of me, and I make sure that I acknowledge its presence, and I'm somewhat excited that it is in my life. Again, you can work on your femininity all you want, but if your masculinity is weak, you will always be somewhat shaky. You know, you will not be able to keep your standards. You will not be able even to act, and then you will fall into dirty femininity, and then it's dirty masculinity again. So don't do that. Acknowledge your masculinity. Let it be seen by you. Work on it, and also by masculinity outside. Don't be threatened by masculinity outside. Masculinity is strong physically, but weak inside. They need feminine women to feel strong inside as well. So don't be threatened by them. Just because somebody is loud or aggressive doesn't mean that they are a threat to you. That just means that they need somebody strong to ground them, somebody energetically strong. All right, and another one is I wouldn't over socialize. I'm so I wouldn't over socialize, and I notice with quite a lot of people who do not understand why I'm not so eager to socialize with others, why I'm not so eager to be seen, to be in the to go out. I mean, I live in Miami. There is a lot of kind of opportunities to be seen, to meet new people, to go here and there. I mean, obviously, a lot of people, a lot of events, a lot of everything, like a lot of opportunities really to be. And I love this. I love that I have those opportunities. So if ever I will decide to be social, I have, at any day of the week, there is something going on. So, but I would not over socialize. Why? Because again, I am feminine, and feminine woman, feminine man, they get energy from the inside. So I'm strong inside. I have the energy inside of me. I don't really have the energy. I don't need the energy from the outside. So remember, masculinity gets energy in three ways: from sport, from achievements, accomplishments, and from women. Not necessarily their particular woman. It could be their mother, could be their daughter, could be their a woman that they date. So somebody. Now, and women get energy from themselves, from nature, and that's it really. So they generate nature within them. Now, because I'm feminine, I don't really need to go outside and get the energy from somebody. I don't need to accomplish something to get energy. I don't need to um, like socialize with others to try to kind of exchange and grab some energy from them, or get influenced by them to get some energy. I don't need none of that. So that's why I don't really socialize, because what's the point of me socializing? I get overexhausted. Like I'm not. I'm happy while I'm socializing, but then I feel like absolutely drained. Like I need to get some kind of energy back into me. So again, um, this is uh, this is how it is. So I, as a feminine woman, I would not over socialize. So if you're feminine, and no, if you feel like you don't want to socialize with others, and you have no problem with others, you just feel like you don't need this, then maybe you're just a feminine person who gets energy from just being by yourself. Nothing wrong with that. Again, as I said, do not avoid people just to avoid them, but don't try to socialize with them just because you believe that everybody should be like a social butterfly. Not everybody should, not everybody will be. And don't think any less of you just because you are not. Like I never feel like I'm missing out just because I'm not going out or something like that. I always know that if I meant somewhere to be, I will be there. If like I wouldn't miss my fun. I have friends who are masculine. I have clients who are masculine. They go to so many events, and then they're super disappointed that the event was blah, that the company was so. So it's like they taking so many chances to be happy in those events, and very often the event is just a flop. It's nothing satisfactory. So again, do not try to push yourself to be social just because you believe that you will miss on something. Instead, make yourself so happy and so filled with this pleasurable energy that the entertainment will come to you, that everybody will want to be in your space instead of you running around the town and trying to trying to get the energy somewhere. So this is what I wouldn't do as a feminine woman. I wouldn't over socialize. I believe in equality, social kind of inequality connections, maybe once a month. Then talking on the phone 2 hours a day with somebody, and then just burn out. Like for example, I will give you an example. So I know this family, and there's a guy. So they have a son, the eldest son, and he likes to be in love. He's feminine, but he likes to be in love. And he was talking to this girl 6 hours every single day. It was so like almost funny. I don't know what people can talk about for 6 hours. I don't even know. Like, so, anyways, he was talking and talking and talking. I thought that you know I knew that the fire that burns fast will die out very fast. But anyways, but he was talking to this girl, and then I don't know what happened, but suddenly he fell out of love with her, and he was just drained, and like he was not interested in her no longer. Again, maybe if he would socialize once a week for half an hour, it would like it would become a better relationship than like over over socialize and just be left with nothing again. That's just how it is. So do not try to, don't think that if you will be super social, you will be more appreciated. That's not true. Like I told you, I have friends since I was in kindergarten, and we don't socialize often, but when we socialize, it's always rewarding, it's always inspiring, it's always interesting. You see, now on the other hand, if I would have a friend and I would see that friend every single day, and I would talk to, I would get like exhausted by that friend of mine, and maybe I wouldn't be even that interested in continuing our friendship because I would be exhausted. So as a feminine woman, I really do not support excessive socialization. I love to talk to people because I get inspired by them. I get some kind of ideas. Obviously, it's always good. We develop with others. You could not develop by yourself. I can develop all I want, but only when I'm with other people. I see how far I progress in my development. Only based on my reactions, I can see whether my development is over here or over here still. We need people, obviously we do, and I encourage you to have relationship with others, with men, with friends, with everybody, but you shouldn't be over exhausting yourself just in hopes of being a good friend or not being forgotten. You wouldn't be forgotten. Okay, like people remember you by your energy, not by you being in their face all the time. So, anyways, but I wanted to, since we live in masculine society, I notice how people tend to believe that they need to be everywhere and at once. And there is a movie like this, Everything Everywhere at Once. I think it's called like that. It's not true. You definitely don't. Trust me, you don't. Look at me. I mean, I'm not that social, but I always have opportunities for socialization. I lived in New York for many years. I live now in Miami. Now there are people who live in small towns who want to be all social all over there, but they don't have an opportunity to live in big cities. Maybe because of that. Maybe because they're so desperately to be seen and want to be seen. So again, if as a feminine woman, over socialization will only hurt your energy. It's good, but it's absolutely not needed, because you getting your energy from yourself, from the power of your body being of the energy being within your aura, like you focusing on yourself. And if you will be always outside, your energy will be always out of your aura, and you will never be able to replenish. You will be exhausted. Even when I'm working sometimes with my clients, when I have like 2 3 consultations a day, I love my clients, obviously. I love their progress. I mean, I'm not burdened by them, but even then I feel like drained. Okay, granted, I do give them energy, so obviously I transport energy, pure energy from me to them. So that's a little exhausting. But I also exhausted just by talking, just by like keeping some kind of conversation, just by being in that situation and not in my aura. So again, if you are feminine, don't beat yourself up if you don't want to be out to be seen. Again, I'm hardly ever seen, but I have friends, I have admirers, I have men, I have all the opportunities. Somehow all of this finds me, and I'm not that seen. Now, on the other hand, I know friends who are seen all the time, and they don't have none of this. Why? Maybe because being seen is not really um, the guarantee of the result. All right, that's it for this list. If you have anything else, add it, because I know there is a couple feminine women, but the ones that I know that listen to me, maybe you can add something to my list. Let me go over. If you have questions, ask. Let me go over it really fast, and then we will be on our way to enjoy Sunday. All right. So the first one is I wouldn't argue because I simply wouldn't win. I would win faster if I would just stay quiet and focus on myself. The masculinity is very particular. Will start kind of trying to get me back into conversation again. As long as you don't converse or get involved, you're not spending any energy, and masculinity will get drained very fast. So don't argue. If you're feminine, don't argue. I wouldn't help, especially if it comes to helping a man. That would not happen, or any kind of adult. I would maybe, like, it depends really. But so it's really up to masculine energy to help, to care. They strive to it. They grow in it. So me as a feminine woman, I see strength in people. I believe that people can really pull themselves together. I think by me seeing strengths in them and focusing on their strengths makes them stronger, so they can really pull themselves together. And I think this is pretty powerful. So again, do not help, especially if it's your man. Do not help your man. How many couples I saw when a woman is trying to help her man, and he's just using it, and he's using again and again and again. At one point he becomes weak because he's acting like a little kid with the mom, a mom who's always will bail him out from any kind of problem. So don't do that to your man. You want your man to be a successful masculine man. Do not see weakness. Again, if a man is asking you for a help, switch the subject, start flirting, or get offended, look, it's within your standards. You shouldn't be helping a man. What kind of man are you going to date if he's asking you for help? Okay, the next one is, as a feminine woman, I wouldn't chase anything simply because I would not be able to get it. I don't have that much physical strength to do everything. So I would rather change my energy to match that's something that I want. So if you want something, that something is always higher than you. Always, we always want something that's higher than you. So what I would do, I would change my energy to raise myself up to that something, and that something will have to appear in my life simply because now we're matching, and so it could not avoid me. If I want anything, I do not chase anything. I attract, but I attract with the purpose. I don't just sit over there like no, no, just sitting and meditating. No, I would not. I would change my energy to the point that something will become energetically matched to me. So if I want a lot of money, I would make myself like vibrationally feeling the same way. So I would feel like $1 million kind of person, worthy of $1 million, and then $1 million will have to appear in my life. Again, it's inside the job. It's easier for me. Now somebody who is masculine might go and make money. I don't know, do some kind of construction, maybe buy a couple houses, flip them, fix them or something. Again, I don't have I don't have that physical strength to do those things. And the next one is, I wouldn't compete simply because that's not a feminine trait. I believe in collaboration, not competition. I do give others a right to be more successful than me. Again, as I told you last time, everybody has enough energy for their goals and for their ambitions. Maybe their ambitions are bigger than mine, or maybe somebody's ambitions are smaller than mine. It's not really my place to decide to compete with somebody or to force somebody to compete with me, because again, our goals might be absolutely different, and it's not like, why would they compete with somebody? Like, I have a friend, and all she wants when she's going to on vacation, all she wants is basically, she loves shopping. So she goes shopping all the time. She loves like I love history, so I look for some kind of history. So it's like, why would they compete with her if we're absolutely different, have different desires and wishes? So this is it's another. Again, if you're feminine, you should look into collaboration, not competition. If competition drives you, then you are in a masculine state. Nothing bad again, but it's not really. Yeah, it's not feminine. Femininity is not driven by competition. Femininity is driven by its own goals and accomplishments. Like, I'm happy of what I accomplished. I don't care whether it's good or bad, but it's whether somebody's doing better, somebody's doing worse. It's not really my place. So I don't strive on that. Even when I'm driving, I don't compete with with other drivers. I mean, if you are in rush, okay, so move fast. Or if you too slow, I mean, let me just pass you by. The next thing is, I do not sympathize. Why? Because that's focusing on weaknesses, and I don't do that. I inspire. So even if the person is completely on the bottom and there is nothing good in their life, I still would not sympathize. I would try to find something good that they can focus on, so they will that it would be better in their life. And this is what femininity is for inspiring, for giving strength, when there is no strength. So now I wouldn't. And it's especially important for me, as a mentor. I mean, if I would be sympathizing with my clients, where will we get? What kind of progress I could expect from them if all we would do is just chew on their misfortunes? I mean, this is just not right. Then I wouldn't brag, simply because I don't need the validation. So I really don't care what the. I mean, it's good and bad, as I said. Sometimes in our masculine society, maybe wouldn't be not bad to brag and to tell some kind of some accomplishment, to show how successful my clients become, how what they achieved. Maybe it would be good, but again, I don't do it, and I never really did this before. Okay, the next one is, I do not. From here, I also do not downplay myself, even though I don't brag. I make sure that I'm always speak kindly and nicely about myself, and I always admit that I accept the compliments, and some kind of praise. I'm always good, because okay, it's one thing not to downplay yourself. Another thing is, I do want to admit that I'm amazing. I don't need validation from others, but my own validation I should have all the time, and it should be unconditional. So I do need to make sure that I think greatly about myself, and when somebody is bringing it up, I am consistent with that thinking about myself. So no downplaying, for sure, for sure. I wouldn't do any aggressive actions, again, for the same reason, because I don't have that power, physical. So, and there's really no need. As a feminine woman, I can change energy, and I can attract something to my life faster than I would be, like just like an animal in the cage, try to do actions here and there just to fix it again. Masculinity could not move the energy like this. I can, so why wouldn't I use it? And one more is, I wouldn't ignore masculinity inside of me and outside of me. Oh, I missed one. Okay, I'll do that. So I wouldn't ignore masculinity in me or outside of me. Why? Because masculinity inside of me is basically my standards, my actions. I would never want my standards to fall just because I want to be super feminine. Remember, femininity itself is like water. If there is no masculinity, like this glass, the femininity will just pour itself all over the place and dry out at one point. So we need to have masculinity to keep ourselves in some kind of borders. Masculinity outside of me, I also acknowledge, even if these are not my man, even if I would never do nothing with this man, even if he's just a man who's passing by me, I would always, at least be somewhat friendly. So I would never be rude, aggressive, or ignore masculinity. Remember that man, it's not only man, it's also success, money, some kind of action. So make sure that you acknowledge them all as well. The next one is, as a feminine woman, I wouldn't over socialize, because that's how it is. I mean, I don't need the crowds to fill me with energy. I feel energy myself, so I don't need to be all over the place, um, for no reason, honestly. um, I firmly believe, and I always had this proof, and it's not only my belief, it's like universal truth. If you have good energy, you will always attract everything to your life. You will attract what is matching you, like it would just happen. It is, I don't know how to prove it. It doesn't mean that you're supposed to be sitting at home, just lock yourself up and just hide from everybody. No, I'm not ignoring people. I just don't need that over socialization. I am happy to go to lunch here with the girls, or with the guys, or with whoever. I'm happy to go to particular events, but I don't believe that I need to be seen to be remembered. I know that I really like. You can't just forget me. My energy is strong enough, and anybody's energy is strong enough to return anybody into your life. So I don't need to be in your face for you to remember me. Somehow you will remember me. All right, and the one that I missed, and it's, I don't prove anybody anything. And I think I actually mentioned this. So I do best for myself, for what I need, for what my aura is required, for the energy that I have in my aura. I don't need to prove anybody anything. Like, I don't prove, like, you could imagine, I didn't do it since I was little. I think I never really did anything in this particular order. So if maybe in school I was somewhat proving to teachers something because I felt like I have to. But for the most part, it died out very fast. I don't have this competitive edge, so I don't prove anything. Okay, so you think I'm not wealthy enough, that's fine. You think I'm not beautiful enough, then that's fine. I mean, as long as I feel like I'm beautiful enough, as long as I feel like I'm wealthy enough for me, for my aura, for my energy, as long as it's enough, it's up to you. So, and you know what, never ever anybody felt like this, never ever people downplay me, you see. And I have really wealthy, influential friends, really wealthy, influential acquaintances, clients from my previous career, and nobody ever said something, like I even had this kind of thing before, that my clients used to travel much more than I did. And I always felt like, well, maybe I couldn't keep the conversations good because I'm not as um, I didn't see enough of the world. I didn't travel enough. That was like my only probably thing that I always felt that I was not good enough maybe at, just because I didn't have that experience. But never ever once anybody told me, "Oh, what would you know? You haven't even been there." Not once. Nobody ever nobody ever made me feel that I have to prove something to somebody. So if somebody maybe would say, "Oh, you never even traveled anywhere. Why would they even listen to you?" Maybe I would be like, "I have to go and travel." But nobody ever did, because I don't feel like I have to prove anything. Okay, so some people travel all the time. Some people don't. I mean, I like, okay, that's fine. Again, like I have friends who never even left never left their country, and I have different friends in different countries. So again, but it's their life. They don't see that need. Like my brother, he's very patriotic of his country, so he doesn't want to travel abroad. He travels within the country, and I think he went to every city there is in his country, but he just doesn't have that need. Doesn't mean that he could not go, he could not afford, he obviously can, but he just doesn't have that need. So I understand that you don't need to prove anything to anybody just because you feel like you may a little bit inferior to others. So anyways, but that's it. Let me know if you have anything to add. I'm sure there is more to that. I put this list from what is relevant to me as a feminine woman in a masculine society. Maybe you have something else to add. If I will, not sure, let me know. But maybe for the next Sunday, I will do what a feminine woman should do, because again, a lot of women have this kind of like they're really not sure how to act once they become feminine, and maybe I will do that list. All right. Just a little reminder that it is the new moon is on. Starts on Wednesday, no, Tuesday afternoon, at least here in United States. So I will start energy alignment on Wednesday. If you want, I still have a couple spots, so write me. And don't forget to clean your apartment energetically, ideally before Tuesday. So it would be clean and prepared for the new months and new opportunities. And and that's it. If you have any questions, ask. If you have any suggestions for the future posts, let me know. And I guess I will see you next Tuesday. Let me quickly look what TikTok is. TikTok is always so active. Okay. Don't forget that I put little videos on TikTok every week, every day. If you want to kind of to have a reminder, please do watch it there. And I do have a group on Facebook where you can ask questions, and the ladies will kind of maybe chip in and help and give their opinion. So please join. It's private, only for ladies. So do please join. And I will see you by TikTok. I will see you next Sunday at 11. And by YouTube, thank you for being here with me. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you think on what your opinions are on what I shared. I would gladly love to hear. And maybe you can add some actions that as a feminine woman you wouldn't do. Again, I'm mostly talking as a feminine woman energy of water, but there are feminine woman energy of earth as well, who are dominantly earth, and maybe their actions will be somewhat different. I do have a couple clients of energy of earth, but again, I never been energy of earth, so I could not answer for them like that. All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me, supporting me. Please do share this video with others. And I will see you next Sunday at 11. Bye, everybody.